Welcome back to another class on Evean Hazaer Halacha series. We are in Siman Aleph in Halacha Yud. In the Pitchei Teshuva in Ot Tezayin, this will be part 10C of the Shi'ur. If you have not listened to part 10B, don't waste your time, Rabotai. I don't even tell you that you'll get credit for learning because you won't understand anything. Please listen to part 10B before you listen to part 10C. Okay. We're going to continue from where we left off with the words V'ayim b'teshuva do b'Yehuda. Before we begin there, let me just recall or recap what happened in 10b. We started speaking about the Shev Yaakov against the Bash. The Shev Yaakov came against the Bash. Rabotai, I will use the Hebrew terminology, B'ezrat Hashem, meaning whatever I already did in English, I'll just say it in Hebrew. It only makes it easier. It allows me to say it in a very condensed format, and it's much more clearer. Alright, if we already did it in English, Rabotai, there's no reason for me to repeat it again. If you're writing it down, you should already have it. Alright, this is Evean Hazaer. This is not it's not simple, I don't want to say anything else. I don't want to bring anyone down, Chas v'shalom. Anyway, Rabotai, the Shev Yaakov said to the Bash, says, Bash, how did you want to learn this case where it says Shu min adin li garsha? You wanted to compare this case to Siman Kuf Tet Vav in Halacha Dalet, right? Just like over there, there's no Chemer Rabbeinu Gershom. That's over here, you don't have the Chemer Rabbeinu Gershom. That's the way you wanted to compare it. So you want to say that over here when it says Shu min adin li garsha, you want to speak about over here about a situation where we're speaking about a woman who's overet aladat. Fine. Came the Shev Yaakov said doesn't make sense. If that is the case, the way you want to learn this, if that is the case, the way you, the Bash, wants to learn this, that is going on a woman who's overet aladat, so why over here you have Yesh Cholkin? I feel a b'makom mitzvah the Chemer Rabbeinu Gershom is applicable. Why over there you don't have the Yesh Cholkin? If they're identical over there, the Ramah should have also brought the opinion of the Yesh Cholkin. He didn't. Came to Shev Yaakov. The Shev Yaakov said, rather you have to learn like me. That over here we're speaking about a case where it says Shu min adin li garsha. You know what we're speaking about? We're speaking about a woman who was not overet aladat, but rather what she was with a man 10 years and she was not able to have children. Oh, so now the problem is they're not able to do mitzvah peru. That's why halachically he's able to divorce her, and that's why there's no Chemer Rabbeinu Gershom, because we're dealing with a mitzvah. When did Rabbeinu Gershom say that you're not allowed to divorce your wife against her will? Fine. When was that? That's in the normal case. But in the case where there's a mitzvah, we're going to tell the Chemer Rabbeinu Gershom is still applicable. But then you had the Yesh Omrim. They're going to tell you no, absolutely not. The Yesh Omrim said, I feel a b'makom mitzvah. Yesh Cholkin, not Yesh Omrim. Yesh Cholkin. There are those that argue, and they hold that even in the place of a mitzvah, still the Chemer Rabbeinu Gershom is applicable. So how can you have a Yesh Cholkin? Very simple. Since the case of Shu min adin li garsha, since the Shev Yaakov is saying like this, since the case of Shu min adin li garsha, we're making it go into this principle of that she's not overet aldat, it's only the mitzvah of prurvu. Good, now it makes sense why you have Yesh Cholkim on the mitzvah part. But if you're going to tell me that this Shu min adin li garsha is going on overet aldat, that is going on a woman that's transgressing on the religion, so what is this Yesh Cholkim doing over here? What are they arguing even if in the b'makom mitzvah? And not only that, why didn't you bring the Yesh Cholkim over there also? So that's what comes to Shev Yaakov, and the Shev Yaakov tells you it's very simple over here. It has to be like me, the Shev Yaakov says. That this case where it says Shu min adin li garsha is going on a woman who is not overet aldat. It's just she was not able to have children with her husband for 10 years. Perfect. Now it makes sense why you have over here Cholkin. Because this opinion in the Ramah says the Chemer Rabbeinu Gershom is not applicable because it's a b'makom mitzvah. Can't be Yesh Cholkin. No, I feel a b'makom mitzvah. The Chemer Rabbeinu Gershom is applicable. Excellent. Now it makes sense why you have Yesh Cholkin. Why in Kuf Tet Vav you don't have Yesh Cholkin? Very simple. Because we're not speaking about a woman not being overet aldat. We're speaking about a woman who's overet aldat. Over there you don't need another opinion of Yesh Cholkin. There's nobody's going to go argue on that. On the contrary, a woman who's overet aldat, everybody's going to tell you you have to divorce against her will. That was the last thing that we concluded. Elavade dekan marish lo pasha. Rather, for sure, we were speaking about a case where she did not transgress against the dat of the woman, of the religious laws of the woman. V'lachen yesh cholkin. That's why you have cholkin, because we're dealing with a situation of mitzvah, pushing away mitzvot. Where you're pushing away mitzvot, you could have an opinion that says the Cher Rabbeinu Gershom is not applicable, and yesh cholkin, no, it is applicable. Since we're dealing with the mitzvot, the mitzvah puru, that's what you're going to have. Yesh cholkin, and the other person is going to tell you, no, it's not. There's no Cher Rabbeinu Gershom. Aval b'Siman Kuf Tetvav, Mari Shepasha. But in Siman Kuf Tetvav, we speak about that she transgressed the laws of the woman, of the religious woman. V'lachen en cholek. That's what you done over there. Cholkin. Ad kan toch dvar. Up to here is the language of the Shev Yaakov. Okay, Rabotai. Now, again, I hope you guys got this. But we did this in 10b. Let's just do this one more time outside. According to the Shev Yaakov, Rabotai, just I want to make sure you guys have it clear. According to the Shev Yaakov, he said to the Bash like this: Bash, you want to learn this case when it says Shumin Adin Ligarsha, you want to say it is similar, it's exactly not similar. It's exactly the same case in Siman Kuf Tetvav Halacha Dalet. Where over there we see that a woman is overt al dat, that's why the Cher Rabbeinu Gershom is not applicable. So too, over here, it's a woman who's overt al dat, that's why the Cher Rabbeinu Gershom is not applicable. Fine. The Shev Yaakov says, if it's like you, why over here you have yesh cholkim afilu b'makom mitzvah, and over there you don't have yesh cholkim afilu b'makom mitzvah? Must be it's like me, because the way I'm learning this din of shumin adin ligorsha is going on a situation where the woman is not overt al dat. It's only to do with the mitzvah of pruvu. So this opinion is going to hold that since we're dealing with the mitzvah of pruvu, the Cher Rabbeinu Gershom is not applicable. That's why you have yesh cholkim. No, even when there's b'makom mitzvah, still going to tell the Cher Rabbeinu Gershom is applicable. But over there, in the case of Siman Kuf Tetvav Halacha Dalet, over there we're not speaking about if she's not overt. We're speaking about a woman who is overt al dat. I speak about a woman who's overt al dat. There's nobody that's arguing over there. That's why over there it's one opinion. Ramah says, that's what the Ramah says over there clearly, that the Cher Rabbeinu Gershom is not applicable. And over here you have a machloket if the Cher Rabbeinu Gershom is applicable or not. In simple terms, the reason why you have a machloket over here if Cher Rabbeinu Gershom is applicable or not, very simple. Because are we dealing over here with mitzvot or overt al dat? No, we're dealing over here with the mitzvah of pruvu being pushed away. Since it's only the mitzvah of pruvu being pushed away, that's why you have yesh cholkim, and they tell you that the Cher Rabbeinu Gershom is applicable, and the other opinion tells you no, the Cher Rabbeinu Gershom is not applicable. That's why there's a machloket, because we're speaking about the situation of pushing the mitzvah of pruvu away. But over there, it's not speaking about the mitzvah of pruvu. Over there, we're speaking about a woman who's transgressing over the Jewish woman's religion. In that situation, we're going to tell you, Rabotai, there's no need for another principle that the Cher Rabbeinu Gershom is not applicable. It's applicable. On the contrary, like we saw over there, there's a mitzvah to divorce a woman who does not go in the ways of Hashem. A rabbi came up to me. The rabbi said he got a phone call from, again, Rabotai, you have to understand. I don't understand. Are you guys asking the rabbis questions to hear what you want to hear, or you ask rabbis questions to hear what you have to do? Right? So what was the situation? Somebody came up to the rabbi and asked, Rabbi, they're going away right now. Everybody's going away. Winter break, right? Kids are Shiva week, whatever it is, right? Shiva week, fine. And Rabbi, can my husband come with me to take my children to the pool? We're not going to go on the beach because it's mixed. But what about the pool? For the kids area, not for the adults. Kids area. I'm talking about 5-6-year-old children. So the rabbi told the guy, absolutely not. Asur chas v'shalom. Rabbi, what's the question? What do you mean? If you can't go to the beach, you can't go to a kids area pool. What do you think? You have over there the mothers that come dressed like the Baba Sali's wife or something, fully dressed. No, they also come. They go in the pool. You have even with the kids pool, you have also adult pool. What are you, Rabotai? Who are we fooling? I don't understand. Basically, the rabbi told the guy absolutely not. So they already made reservations, whatever it is. right? They're going to the hotel again. You go to the hotel, go to the hotel. But so the rabbi made, not the rabbi, the husband put an ultimatum for his wife. He said like this, very simple. He said, listen, you want me to come with you? I'm telling you right now, you're not taking me to the pool. I'm not watching your kids in the pool because the kids shouldn't be there in the first place. You shouldn't be there also in the first place. So the wife calls the rabbi. And the wife makes a very big balagan. Because of you, Rabbi, we are on the verge of a divorce. Why? What happened? The rabbi's like, what happened? But he didn't know what happened. He didn't know whose wife is calling what. He said, you told not only one person, it's a few guys like this. You told my husband that he's not allowed to go to the pool. Do you know what my husband told me? Now he wants to stay up home. He wants to sit in the room when I go with my kids to the pool. I'm not watching my kids alone. I didn't bring them to this world alone. I brought him with him. He's also responsible. He's coming down with me. The rabbi said, absolutely not. He doesn't have to do anything you say. You're not allowed to make your husband sin. What's the pshat? So the rabbi told me, I said, why don't you just tell the lady or the woman, whoever called you, that in Evean Hazaer Siman Kuftet Vav, she wants to get a divorce. There is a mitzvah to divorce a woman who's overet al dat, who goes against the religion. There is a mitzvah. Why in the world would anybody want to live with a woman that goes against Hashem intentionally? Now, Rabotai, I'm not speaking about secular people. I'm speaking about people that sit and learn, not full day, but they learn 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour at night. They work, they down 3 times a day. The wife covers their hair. It's just a lot of times people think they're in New York. In New York, they act religious. In the synagogues, they're with Tehillim. But when we're outside, Rabotai, outside our comfort zone, Miami or, I don't know, Turks and Cakes or Mexico or anywhere else, Rabotai, where you're not supposed to be. Yeah, I'm not telling you you're not supposed to be there. There's ways to go about everything. It might cost you double to have a kosher vacation. It might cost you more to get a private boat, to go on a private beach. It might. My brother one time went. He told me he went with his wife. They went to Panama City. I was also a very nice place. A lot of religious people. By the way, there's no beaches there. But if you want to go to the beach, my brother had to get a boat. Well, at that time, he went. He paid what, 2,500, 3,500. I paid also. I didn't pay. I paid under 800. But I didn't go. I didn't go beach. I don't like. I'm afraid of ocean because of the sharks. But me and my wife took a privite boat. I think I did pay. I think maybe around 1,100. I don't know, something. I don't know, 800. Because we did a few activities on the boat. But what's pshat? For 2-3 hours, yeah, you're paying a lot of money. But if you want to do what's right, you'll have to pay for it. Why not pay with money? Why do you have to pay with your neshamot? So he took his wife. He showed me that beautiful boat. You know, that bungee jumping on the boat, right? They had slides. It was very nice. But everything just to be in the realm of Torah, in the realm of Halacha, is doable, it's possible. You don't have to see nobody, you don't have to, for what? So you're arguing with your husband because he wants to do the right thing. In any event, Rabotai, you have to understand there's a mitzvah not to be with such a woman. If it's secular woman, they don't understand bichlal. But religious women that are fully covered, mit pachad on their head, and just because it's 1 week off, it doesn't mean you're allowed to go ahead now and go to the beaches and pool. Forget about the kids. What do you think your husband's going to see? You think you're the next top model? I'll tell you a secret, Rabotai. If you think you look good, there's another girl that looks better than you. Especially these women that don't ever give birth. What did they walk with a perfect stomach, no stretch marks, nothing? You think your husband's going to be able to look at you the same way after he sees these girls? Do you women think what you guys are doing by taking your husband to these disgusting places? Rabbi Chaim of Shita one time said, you have to be stupid to show your husband on TV other women. Because your husband see these women, they tighten them, they work out for years just to be one time on the beach. And that's what the guy sees, now that's what he wants. You don't believe me, Rabotai? That's Kli Chazal. Whatever your eye sees, that's what it wants. Halev chomed, ha'ain ro'eh, the eye sees. Halev chomed, and then the feet, they go and they do the avera. But first, what happened? Sees. Rabotai, everything was seeing. You don't want something until you don't see it. You don't believe me? How could it be? You're walking in the store, you see a lot of these things you never need. Also, you start buying this. Up to now, you were fine without it. But once your eyes see something, they want it. Same thing with men. A woman needs to be careful where she takes her husband. To which woman she introduces him to. Rabotai, where's your seichel? Anyway, let's get back over here. I just want to bring out a point that this guy, I don't know who this guy is, I don't know who the people are, but men should not be afraid of their wives just because they want to get a divorce. There is a mitzvah according to the Shulchan Aruch to divorce these kind of women. I'm telling you about time. Don't start jumping into divorce right now. Ask your local rabbi to do, because I don't know where each one of you is holding. But these things, by Shomrei Torah, by Bnei Torah, it will never run by. Not this discussion won't even come up. Pool, beach, mixed parties. You know why? Because the husbands are the men in the house, not the women. Anyway, Rabotai, let's continue. All right, so now we continue back where we're supposed to be today. Ve'an b'teshuvah Noda b'Yehuda, he says, look into the response of the Noda b'Yehuda. Siman Aleph. In Siman Aleph, he says it like this. Again, I have over in parentheses, he says, b'teshuvah Noda b'Yehuda, Kama Evean Hazaer, Siman Aleph. Gadol echad ratza l'tares divri Rama, that there was one great person, one great rabbi, that he wanted to answer the words of the Rama, that the words of the Rama from Siman Aleph to Siman Kuf Tedvav, that they're not contradicting one another. The be'emet, because in truth he says, L'garesh bal korcha kil yoter milisat beit nashim. Because in truth, to divorce a woman against her will is much more easier from marrying two women. I don't like the word easier. 1 second. I don't like the word easier. English. 1 second. The be'emet l'garesh bal korcha kil yoter. It's much lighter. It's much lighter. Yes, it's much lighter. I think that's much better. The be'emet in truth l'garesh bal korcha, to divorce a woman against her will, kil yoter milisa beit nashim, is much more lighter from marrying two women. That means to say this: to marry two women is much more severe. To divorcing a woman against her will is much more lighter. It's much more lenient. Kimo shekatu b'teshuvah maharam padava, Siman Yud Gimel, like it's written in the response of maharam padava in Siman Yud Gimel. So it comes out of it like this. Before I continue, we have it like this: that this great Gadol, this great person, wanted to say like this. Because remember, he says that he wants to resolve that there's no contradiction between this Ramah and that Ramah, between Siman Aleph and Siman Kuf Tedvav. Why over there you don't have Yesh Cholkin, and why you have Yesh Cholkin when it comes to the Chemer Rabbeinu Gershom, right? So he wants to learn like this. He wants to bring the response of the Maharam Pedava, Maharam Pedava, where he says that what? That when if we have an option right now to divorce against, like the woman who's over at Aldat, to divorce against her will, he's going to tell you that it's much lighter, it's better basically to do that, or versus to tell this guy, go marry a second woman and don't divorce her. It's easier for us to allow him to divorce this woman against her will than to go ahead and marry another woman on top of what he already has. So basically what I'm trying to bring out is like this, that the Chemer Rabbeinu Gershom, it's easier to overlook the Chemer Rabbeinu Gershom when you're dealing with a woman when it comes to divorcing her against her will. But to overlook the Chemer Rabbeinu Gershom when it comes to marrying another woman, that's more severe, that's more strict. So he said like this. So now that we know that, now that we have that in mind, that to divorce a woman is much more lighter than to marrying a woman, ve'im ken, and if so, b'siman kuf tedvav, that in Siman Kuf Tedvav, the Ma'ir L'Geresh Bal Korcha that we're speaking about over there, to divorce a woman against her will because she was overt al da'at, in this, hakol modim delo tiken Rabbeinu Gershom. Okay, over there everybody's going to agree that the Chemer Rabbeinu Gershom is not applicable. That's why you don't have Yesh Cholkin, because everybody agrees. Aval kan, but over here, the Ma'ir Lisa Beit Nashim, but already since we speak about to marry two women, Bazehevi Bedaot. Over here he brought you two opinions, because it's much more stricter. But this is what the Rama wrote, that if it's Shumin Adin Ligarsha, and if she doesn't want to accept the get from you, you're allowed to go ahead and allow him to marry another woman. I don't get it. If you're able to divorce against her will, why are you allowing him to marry another woman? So he says, he wants to say, he's not able to do, it's impossible for him to divorce her against her will. We have to say that she's not here. So Rabotai, watch this carefully. So comes to Shudo the Biyud, and he wants to say that there's another way you could answer the Shev Yaakov's question. When the Shev Yaakov told us that over here you have Yesh Cholkin, and over there you have no Yesh Cholkin, comes the Biyud, and it says in a very big Talmud Chacham's name, I could tell you why over there you don't have Yesh Cholkin. I'll tell you why you don't have Yesh Cholkin, and why over here you have Yesh Cholkin. Over there, since it's much easier to divorce a woman against her will, that's why there's nobody that's going to argue. But over here, since we're speaking about marrying off this guy to another woman while he's still married to the first one, since it's still stricter, that's over here you have Yesh Cholkin. One more time, Rabotai. If so, in Siman Kuf Tedvav is speaking about to divorce her against her will because she's overt al hadat. In this, everybody's going to agree that the Chen Rabbeinu Gershom is not applicable. That's why you don't have Yesh Cholkin. Aval Khan, but over here, the Mari Lisa Beit Nashim, but over here, since we're speaking about to marry to a woman, Bezehevi Beit Deot. Since you have other opinions that hold that it's a strict thing to go ahead and marry another woman while you still have the other wife, that's over here. I had to bring you two opinions. One opinion is going to tell you, no, you're allowed to go ahead and marry another woman, and then you're going to have Yesh Cholkin. I feel b'makom mitzvah. The Chen Rabbeinu Gershom is applicable because we're dealing with marrying another woman. When it comes to marrying another woman, it's also severe. So one rabbi is going to tell you the Chen Rabbeinu Gershom is applicable when it comes to marrying another woman. Another one's going to tell you no, it's not applicable. This is what the Rama wrote. So you're able to divorce the Halacha. You're able to go ahead and divorce her. So therefore, he's able to marry another wife. 1 second. He says, I don't get it. If he's able to marry another wife, why marry another wife on top of what he already has? Why don't you just divorce her? So he says, because it's impossible to divorce her against her will. If you look into the language of the Rama for a second, where it says, Shumin adin ligorsha, halachically he's able to divorce her. Get mimenu. That's what he says. You have to add those words. And she does not want to accept the get from him. Yesh la'akel, you can be lenient. La'atir lo lisacheret, you can be lenient to allow him to marry another woman. I don't get it. 1 second. Comes this Echad Gadol, this great Talmud Chacham, says, don't try to be confused. If over there we're telling you right now that everybody's going to agree, if it's easy to divorce her, so good divorce her. What does the Rama tell me over here? This in itself could be a contradiction. No, over there you tell me divorce against her will. Good. Over here divorce against her will. Why are you telling me over here that she doesn't want to accept the get? That's why he's able to go and marry another woman. One was pshat. That's what he wants to say. You have to learn this piece over here. It is impossible for him to divorce her against her will because you have to say that she's not here. Because either if she would have been here, you would be able to divorce her against her will. Okay, Rabotai, we're going to conclude over here. Tomorrow we're going to see in the following class where the Noda B'Yehuda is going to disagree with this big Talmud Chacham. He's not going to like it. We'll see B'Ezrat Hashem B'Neder that in the following class. Okay, Rabotai, have a great day. Baruch Adonai Olam. Amen v'amen.